And there you have it. I gave you Mary Poppins for another morning.
Dennis, we've had a number of wet Wednesday mornings this year.
I was saying when I started the show that what is it about Wednesdays? Because it appears it usually rains.
So what a morning I've had. I'm glad I'm here this morning.
this morning, the thunderclaps and the rest, I was like, hey, are we going to be...
You got here okay?
I got here okay, but it wasn't easy. I was just praying there would be no broken tree, or you know how it gets when... So meandering through, and some places are kind of you know how the streets get, so you have to really go slowly, and I was driving through dams, and then dams followed me. But good morning. We're glad to see you and have you here with us on the AM show. And let's start by introducing our guest for you this morning. We have Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante joining us. He's a political scientist and head of European Studies at the University of Ghana. Doc, good morning to you.
Good morning, Siti, and good morning to Ben, as well as my colleague Jabir.
Right. We also have Dr. Jabir Mohammed, and he's a senior lecturer at UPSA. Doc, good morning to you as well.
Good morning. Siti, how are you?
I'm fabulous. Thanks for asking.
I'm at University of Ghana Business School, not UPSA.
Thank you for that correction. So, Ben?
Yes, so before we get into, I just want to do this morning. Thank you very much, Nana Joabena. You know who you are, and thanks especially for this morning. She's part of why I got to work, the time I was able to get to work. It's been a crazy morning, but thank God. Anyway, quick thoughts from you, gentlemen. I'll start with you, Dr. Jabir Mohammed. Any quick thoughts for us this morning before we get into the papers?
Well, Ben, last week I started talking about I think accidents on the road. I want to revisit that. This week, we have had a series of accidents once again in the same similar road. Just yesterday, about 10 people died on the stretch of Accra to Kumasi through a car colliding with one another. I say stand firmly that it is time to dualize the road. The president promised that in his manifesto. So I believe that they should walk the talk now. It is now to walk the talk. We don't have to continue to lose a lot of lives through the road. So I'm pleading with the authorities to start doing something on that.
Thank you so much for those thoughts. And you see, I always have my heart in my mouth, literally. Sweetie, I don't know how often you've used that stretch. When I have to use that stretch, you're also measuring or gauging what vehicle to use on that stretch. If you're going in public transport or if you're driving, what time of day. So you've mentioned the road dualization. One of the things I see overspeeding, speeding and overspeeding. And sometimes people not being very, I don't know, but look at what killed, Ebony Rains, for example. That lump somewhere, averting it led to disaster. There are so many, and we all have the experiences. It's sad. But let me get to Dr. Asah-Asante for your take. I'm sure you use that stretch from time to time.
Which stretch are you talking about?
He's talking about the Accra-Kumasi stretch.
No, I hardly go to Kumasi.
Oh, I see. Right.
Yes. But if something is wrong, we need to fix it because we are all road users. And even if you don't use it today, tomorrow you use it or others are using it. But that said, let me look at what is happening relative to this Chief Justice process and all that. Why am I looking at this? I am surprised about comments from lawyers and well-meaning people who have knowledge in law in this matter. Some people are talking as if they know what the judgment or what the end of the process will be, and that they are speaking as if that the woman is guilty, even though they are yet to go through all the processes and get to the end. Let us remember that the person we are talking about is the Chief Justice. He was first and foremost a lawyer, a distinguished one, of course. So he knows what to do. When he had not received the petition. He called for it. It was given. He responded. And the process is going. I think that anybody who is not satisfied with the process, just use the law to address your issue. But for people to attack the process, condemn the process, and say all manner of things to the extent that people are even, talking as if they know the outcome, that is unfair. It's unfair to a process that is written in the Constitution and that is giving constitutional backing. If you think that there is something wrong, walk to the courts and seek redress. Otherwise, keep your mouth shut and allow the process to go. And those who think that the process is the right thing at the end of the day or is the wrong thing at the end of the day, whatever comes out, all of us will know. But we bastardizing the whole process and speaking all manner of ill about the process and even condemning the woman who is here to defend herself before the committee is unfortunate. Let us all wait, follow the process, but nothing prevents anybody who think that the process is shortchanged and order to go to court and seek redress. That is the spirit behind any democratic enterprise. And use the law to address your issue as opposed to any other thing.
Thanks, Doc, for your quick thoughts. And sweetie, I agree with him on those on both extremes. Due process and all of that. Where's they are going according to the Constitution, right? In fact, I've heard Felix Kwachiofosu say that a suspension doesn't mean the committee has concluded on anything, but it is what the Constitution says in terms of what can happen if we establish a prima facie case. And those on the other end who are also saying, she's gone. She deserves a fair hearing, which she is now going to get, after which we'll know whether she'll come back and take over from Justice Bafo-Boni, who, by the way, I've seen lists and some people talking about, why is this person? Why is it that person? It's all in order of seniority. Nothing to do with.
And the way that
let's let the process be had. That's all.
The way the newspapers captured it this morning is quite
interesting.
I mean,
right?
a prima facie case does not necessarily mean she's guilty yet. That's the whole reason why that committee has been set up to probe further. And they're saying Ghana's day of shame. This is the Ghanaian publisher. Says Ghana's day of shame. Really? As Mahama suspends Chief Justice, minority describes action as judicial coup. The custodian is also saying the same thing, Ghana's day of shame. As journalists, I think we should be circumspect with our reportage and the way we caption these headlines. I disagree with you if you say it's a Ghana's day of shame. Granted, it's never been done before, but it is not a constitutional breach. This is just due process. And I've listened to members of both parties say, indeed, it is, Frank Davis yesterday agreed on PM Express yesterday that it is due process. So where is the shame in here? But let's get into some other stories. I'll start from the Ghanaian publisher. Government's mining decisions could spark job losses, repel investors, according to Minority. Depoliticize entrepreneurship, Afenyo Markin says. And let's start from there. The minority leader in Parliament, Mr. Alexander Afenyo Markin, has reiterated the need to take politics out of entrepreneurship, stressing that businesses must be allowed to thrive based on merit, innovation, and hard work rather than political affiliations. And quotes, the public sector is already choked and the jobs of the future will be created in the private sector. And this is the mindset of our young people, and we need to depoliticize that. Let me just add two stories and I'll come to you, gentlemen. ECOWAS advocates reforms to improve intra-regional trade. Dr. Uma Elien Taure, the president of ECOWAS Commission, has bemoaned the low intra-regional trade, with trading hovering around 12% among the West African member states. We know that yesterday we marked 50 years of ECOWAS, as well as that meeting on Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger's exit of ECOWAS. And hopefully we'll get the details of that meeting. One last story. Who will be the next pope? Could it be the first black or Asian pontiff? Benjamin, remember yesterday I was saying that it would be a day to see a black person ascend to that level of power, position, or an Asian person. But the story captures, I think, the top picks of those who are likely to step up into that role. We have Reverend Father Peter Texan, 78, Peter Edo, 72, Pedro Parolin, 70, Matteo Zuppi, 69, Robert Sarah, 79, Mario Grech, 68, and Jose Tolentino, I think that's the youngest we have here, at 59 years old. Gentlemen, let me start with you, Dr. Kwame Asante.
So let me just say this,
Yeah.
since I am Catholic, those are cardinals. And
Cardinals.
That's the interesting...
So they're not Reverend Fathers?
Oh, everybody, they are all priests, but they are cardinals. When they go into conclave, it is these cardinals who qualify by way of age. I think those who are not beyond the age of 80 who will partake in the conclave or the voting for the next pope. One interesting thing, Peter Cardinal Appiah Turkson, he's been in the fray of these conversations for about 10 years.
True.
Even before Francis and all of that. But I love the way the response came when the topic came up. He said, it's not about region in 2013 also. It's not about region. It's not about which area. It's about where the Holy Spirit leads. So we'll leave it at that. And that has been the response of the church in Ghana as well.
Okay. Anyway. Dr. Kwame Asante, over to you. Your reflections on these stories.
Yes, I think I'll start with politics and entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Yes. We need entrepreneurs to change the fortunes of this country in whatever way possible and as soon as possible. We can't wait any longer. This means that the state must make conscious effort to support their efforts, to let them grow, to stand competition from within and outside the country. That's the spirit behind any country which is serious about addressing this challenge. But sometimes what we see in this country is that our state, through the use of government, come in and then destroy our own entrepreneurs simply because they belong to the other side of the political divide. That's very shameful. It must cease and must cease today. We are not going to tolerate that anymore. Our children are on the street looking for jobs. So it doesn't matter whether any hat anybody wears, whether it's the color of one political party or another. They don't care. They need jobs. And that whatever the state must do to support everybody, irrespective of your party affiliation or your party color. Support everybody, let them grow. At the end of the day, when people find jobs, that they know that there is a government which is catering for their needs. I move on to the intra-regional trade, right? It's an important one. And if you look at what ECOWAS stands for and what we are gaining now, it means we are not doing much. We need to double our effort to be able to improve our lot in this area, to make life better for countries who appended their signature to the establishment of this all-important body. But if you extend the conversation to countries that today they have gone out of the democratic enterprise into authoritarian rule and they want to woo them back, it's a great effort. We need to double our effort in that direction so that we discourage people to using the military to address political challenge. I have said, and I'll continue to say, that a wrong democracy is better than a military rule that can give me silver and gold, because we know them, we know their color, and we know that they only come to deceive. In no time, you see their true colors. So I will urge African leaders, particularly those in the sub-region, to encourage the support for democracy and make sure that they also govern, that they will not attract those miscreants into the political field, so as to endanger the democratic enterprise. I believe that the only way that Africa can develop is developed through a democracy, nothing more, nothing less. And I move on to the Pope that we have lost. Sad story, but we are looking at the whole process and we are following. I know that for the Catholics, very well organized group, and then they will come out somebody who will be a leader for all within the Christendom and will lead the church. We wish them all the best, and then we pray for the life of the Pope as they move on to another world. But we as traditionalists, we also pour libation to support their effort so that somebody good will come and support the church.
Right.
I am very much interested in the activities of the Catholics and any other religion. because when we are in difficulty, we fall on religious groups and religious leaders. We have seen the struggle against military dictatorship and military nonsense, if I may put it that way, in this country, where we saw the Catholic Standard, we saw the Christian Messengers, we saw all those religious groups who stood up against dictatorship and misgovernment and all that. We have seen popes in the world also talking about human rights violation, Latin American case, for instance, and the rest of them. I always support the cause for people who stand up and let be, so that they are counted before the right-thinking people for anything that we call wrongs of our society.
Right. Doc, thank you so much. Let me go to Dr. Mohammed now. And just for a bit of context, I know there are several metrics that we can use to measure the successes or failure of ECOWAS. And 50 years on, I'm curious to know what you think, what's your assessment of it is. We could talk about social impact, intra-regional trade, peace and security, all that. Is there something there to celebrate, Dr. Mohammed?
Has ECOWAS achieved its mandate since it was set up? We cannot say they haven't done anything, but we can say they have also done something perfect. But there are a lot of hindrances that is constraining ECOWAS from being successful. One of the key things is that it is even extremely difficult to travel among the ECOWAS countries. We don't even have good roads to the ECOWAS country. We don't have railway. Even if you want to take a flight, you may end up spending a lot of money just as you want to take a flight to any other European country, which is a very serious matter. We don't have any, sea linking most of the countries. Even if we have, it is extremely difficult to even travel among us. So that is how come that we have a very low trade among ourselves, and we have external trade being very high. Essentially, what are some of the activities that we trade among ourselves? What are some of the goods and services that we need to trade among ourselves? These are not clearly defined. What is our comparative advantage? What is Ghana having that other African countries within the SAP region do not have? What can we trade among ourselves? These are things that we have to sit down and discuss and ensure that we put all these mechanisms in place to ensure that we have a fair trade and we have a balanced trade among the region. If we are not able to do so, then we should not be counting to have a higher trade among ourselves. That isn't going to work. If we want to allow that to work and work perfectly, let Ghana work very hard to get a railway line from here to connect to Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso also connect to another country. The other country also connect to another country. By the time we realize we have connected the whole of West Africa together, and that is how come that we can have an efficient trade among ourselves. But when we are not able to do so, we can't do anything. The last time, a friend of mine had to leave Burkina Faso to Ghana to take a visa because I was traveling with her. But she told me that I have to pay about $950 to get a flight from Burkina Faso to Ghana just to take a visa and go back. I cannot afford that. And for that matter, I'm not ready to come. So if businessmen and women are going to be facing this challenge, do you think that we are going to be able to trade among ourselves? Essentially, no. So these barriers, if we are not able to overcome them, we cannot have any efficient trade. Another point is about the military problems that we have. About 3 or 4 of them have decided to withdraw out of ECOWAS before because they have gone out of democratic governance. I entreat them to come back and also to return their countries back to democracy. In as much as some of them may be praised for the good work that they are doing, I equally believe that if they return the country to democratic dispensation and the governance of the country is efficient and follow the rule of law and do the right thing, I believe that everybody will have peace at hand. Now, on the issue of politics and entrepreneurship, the two of them are inextricably linked to one another. You agree with me that entrepreneurship is the engine for growth. All the developed countries that you are seeing around is as a result of efficient entrepreneurs that are driving the growth of those countries. It is not about political entrepreneurs. What do you see in our countries? We see political entrepreneurs. They just come in when the government is working. Let the government go out of power, and that business is also dead.
Right.
If you run a business like that, we can never have an efficient job creation process. And most of the businesses also don't have, what do you call it? The owners do not leave a legacy. We do not form a legacy businesses. If the owner dies, the business also dies. These are the things that we need to come in place to work on. Let's create businesses that leave legacy so that when you are alive, you train people to take over from you. When you die, the business continues to exist. One thing I also want to say is that the businesses should be put on the stock exchange. If you just run them as one-man business, like a mature business, and you are able to offload it to the stock exchange, you allow public participation. And once you allow public participation, the business is going to continue to exist. And Ghanaian businesses too, let me employ them to go outside Ghana. That is why we have the ECOWAS trade. Use that and establish branches outside Ghana. That is how you can grow.
Right.
You learn from other places' experiences and build your country. Now, on the last point of the papacy, I think that I wish them well. We are Muslims. We want peace to exist in the world.
Right.
So I believe that they can decide and come up with someone who will best represent them and defend the cause of the world. And you know that the Catholic Church has done a lot, including health, education, politics, whatever it is. They have done so much in the world. I wish them well.
Okay, thank you. And just to add that Ghana Catholic bishops to organize National Memorial Mass for the Pope, and that's also in the newspaper, the Ghanaian publisher newspaper. On the back page, Absa Bank partners with Dulcie Boateng for Poriel speech. Ben, I'm curious to know what you think about it. This is a young woman influencer leveraging her presence or influence on digital media to create opportunities for other young business owners to thrive. Do you follow the story? She's called Dulcie, and then she just says she's going to, all her followers who have businesses should come together and sell, buy, whatever it is. And it was a beautiful thing. Last year, I think GRA even partnered with her.
Post or something.
You've not followed that. Yeah, I think that is commendable.
The concept is good.
Yeah.
I mean, to come together like this and share. I know of other people who are also, they come together, network, some even WhatsApp groups. I've been on WhatsApp groups where people say, you know what, let's have a day where all of us share what businesses we are into, what we have on offer, so that internally people can. And I think it's a brilliant thing to do. Definitely. It's
a great way to drive.
Rather than always, I am the bigger person, I am I have more followers on all of that is. They say the only time you should look down on someone is when you are helping them up. So.
Got it. Well, that will be it for the Ghanaian publisher newspaper. Ben, let's do yours one, and then I'll come back to the Custodian.
All right, so let me get into the Daily Guide newspaper. 13 killed, others injured in gory accident. And here we are this morning. We were just talking about that. Dr. Jabir Mohammed was talking about that. Man's penis cut off in lover's room. Ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. The mere thought of it. Mahama suspends Tokonu Bafoboni, acting Chief Justice. Apologise over failed Galamsey promise. That's according to the NPP. JHS student lynched over phone. And that's it. So let me get into the stories. And I'll start from page 3. President Mahama has suspended Chief Justice Gertrude Saki Tokonu. And I know we've dilated a bit on it, but I'm just looking at what the Daily Guide is saying. Following the setting up of a 5-member committee to probe the 3 petitions calling for a removal from office, a statement issued by the spokesperson to the president and minister in charge of government communications, Felix Wachuofosu, indicates that the president has, in accordance with Article 1466 of the Constitution and in consultation with the Council of State, determined that a prima facie case has been established in respect of 3 petitions against the Chief Justice. In the absence of Justice Tokonu, Justice Paul Bafoboni, who is the senior-most judge at the Supreme Court, will be acting as Chief Justice until such a time when she will resume her duties or a new Chief Justice assumes office. Just moments before the announcement of the suspension of the Chief Justice, Member of Parliament for Old Tafo, Vincent Eko Asifwa, filed a supplementary affidavit in support of his suit and injunction application at the Supreme Court, in which he avers that the petitions to remove the Chief Justice is a ruse by the current government to remove Chief Justice Tokonu by any means necessary. And there are those who have contested and said, you can't injunct processes that the Constitution itself has set out and imposed on the president. It's one thing if you are saying we need to amend the Constitution, which Martin Kpebu has been, lamenting, but to say we are injuncting the process, that's an argument that others say is not tenable. But let's get into the other stories. Let's go to page 6. At least 13 people are feared dead and several others have sustained severe injuries following a fatal accident at Amanase Estate Junction in the eastern region on the Accra-Kumasi Highway. And I believe that was what Dr. Mohammed was referencing. The tragic accident occurred in the early hours of Tuesday, April 22, 2025. The accident involved a fuel tanker with registration number GR 1300-16 and a Sprinter bus with registration number GW651023. Other details are there. Please, let's stay safe, and our condolences to the bereaved families. I'll just do these other stories and we're done. I'll go back to page 3. A junior high school Form 1 student has been cruelly lynched by a mob after he was allegedly caught stealing a mobile phone and an amount of 800 Ghana cedis at Aboaso Zongo in the Ashanti region. The deceased, aged 13, was said to have stolen the mobile phone and money from a certain house at Aboaso Zongo around, or should I say Zango, around 3 a.m. on April 15, 2025. According to a Mamponting police statement, the deceased was caught in the illegal act at an ungodly hour. An alarm was then raised and the suspect was eventually lynched by an angry mob. Just as we remember Major Mahama, let's remember this as well. You may catch someone, like the law will say, in flagrante delicto, right in the act of committing something that is a crime. It doesn't give you the right to lynch the person. That is another crime. And if you are caught, the same way some of the people in Major Mahama's case went through the court process and got their sentences, you could serve a hefty sentence, maybe even face murder charges. So let's watch it. A man believed to be in his early 60s has had his penis completely cut off under some bizarre circumstances. The unfortunate incident happened on Good Friday, April 18, 2025, when the victim, Samuel Sam, was sleeping in the room of his alleged fiancée, one Stella, at Kwesimintim in the Efia Kwesimintim municipality of the Western region. Though the perpetrators of the alleged crime had not been identified, rumor had it that ex-lovers of the fiancée might be responsible. And now there's a missing penis somewhere, a penis on the run. I mean, this is devastating. If you're, can you imagine your crown jewels,
I feel like I don't have enough information to form an opinion.
You don't.
On how frustrating.
You don't know how frustrating this can possibly be.
I can't relate. I'm sorry.
Hey. You let me end here on page 6. Just me. No, but I mean, I just had to lump all the stories
to this man.
It's something else. I had to lump all the stories so that we can get quick reactions and then move on to other papers. The last one. Apologise over failed Galamsey promise, NPP. The national youth organizer of the NPP, Salam Mustafa, has called on President Mahama to render an unqualified apology to Ghanaians over his inability to deliver lofty promises, especially in tackling illegal mining, popularly called Galamsey. According to Mr. Mustafa, since the NDC assumed the reins of power, early signs clearly show that they are not going to deal with the challenges facing the country as promised, especially on illegal mining, and should therefore apologise to Ghanaians. Sometimes our politics, 4 months versus 8 years of what? And I still stand by my position. I think better is being done now when it comes to Galamsey. We are not where we want to be, but thank God we are not where we used to be. Your take, gentlemen. I'll start with you, Dr. Kwame Asante.
Yeah, I will also continue from where you left off with the issue of Galamsey. I think that people must take their time. You are talking about a government who has 4-year mandates. We just started less than 4 months. So it is too far-fetched if you want to measure the performance of the government relative to its promise in the area of what Galamsey. What we have seen, which Ben rightly said, we have seen something which is moving towards an improved situation compared to the old order. Yes, now that act which allows people to the CI to man in forest areas has been dealt with. You see the minister, moving action in there. They've talked to communities, forming all manner of groups to to help deal with the situation. That is solution. My prayer is that they should maintain the momentum and get us to the finish line. And that is my prayer. But we will not hesitate to criticize the government when the need arises. But so far, I think that so good relative to what the fight against Galamsey, except that the issue of deporting foreigners who are invading our forest areas and our land to what? Mine. And they don't subject them to what? The court process. That is unfortunate. We won't accept that. They should change that policy. That said, I want to move on to 13 people killed in road accident. We have seen this time and again. And I don't know what we can do as a society. But I feel so strongly that this state, our state, your state, is not ready to deal with this problem, because there is always a way out to any problem. So why do we continue to have high numbers of people who can be, potential, movers and shakers of our society? But here we lose them on the street simply because of what? Bad road uses, the uses of the road, road regulations. We throw them to the dogs, and we also have engineering problems and all that. And why do we continue to be in this state? Ghana, we need to wake up. We are losing a lot on the streets, and even one death is bad enough to dent the image of the country relative to what the problem we are talking about. GHS student lynch over phone. This problem has been with us. And sometimes I ask myself whether we are in a democracy or a mobocracy. Sweetie, when we say mobocracy in podcast, and we are talking about mob rule, where people say, Choboy.
Yay.
Are we in a democracy or a mobocracy? I mean, this type of mob rule, nobody will accept it. We are not saying that if somebody has intruded into your privacy and is taking something that does not belong to him, you don't need, you have the power to apprehend the person, but hand the person over to the police and let the law take its course. But you,
Dr. Kwame Asante, sorry to interject. It's not something that, I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but it's something that Ghanaians do. Even in local parlance, they tell you, say, so is this something that is deeply rooted in who we are as Ghanaians, that we have to start some sort of reorientation? Because it appears people don't,
You got it right. It's something cultural.
Yeah.
I mean, once alarm is raised, you are dead.
You are dead.
But that is not how we build any civilized society. This is a country of laws. So if you think somebody has done something wrong, use the law to right that wrong. But you taking the law into your own hands, and I'm happy, Ben, drew the attention to those people about the consequence of that action, that you are liable. If the law, the law grabs you, you are going to be punished severely for that. So we need to begin the socialization, inculcating into children, right from the family to the schools to public places and all that, so that we become aware and conscious about it, so that any wrongdoing, you use the law to right it, but you don't, resort to the use of state of nature, where brute force is what you are going to apply. Remember, we have a democracy, but not a mobocracy. Mob rule, no. We saw that in 1979.
You remind me of, political science class, where that Hobbesian theory of life being poor, nasty, brutish, and short.
Yes.
And you used to reiterate that. You brought that back to my mind this morning. I'm sure Dr. Jabir Mohammed also remembers.
I took my book and I read about the Leviathan, the biblical sea monster. We'll talk about it and its impact in Ghanaian politics, which I'm seeing as another refreshing account that I will share in the course of the week. Yes.
Right. Dr. Mohammed, quick thoughts on these stories as well as we get into other papers?
Well, about the issue of the Galamsey, I will continue to reiterate that I think the government is in a good step to ensuring that we kept Galamsey. One of them is that we have been able to repeal the law that allows us to mine in forest zone. And very recently, I hear that Apunta mines licenses has been revoked. on certain aspects of mining, which is a good step in a particular way. And also, clearly, if you look at things very well, you will notice that the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, the Minister for Science and Environment, they've been working collaboratively with a particular working group to ensure that we end Galamsey in most of the communities. So I think that these are critical steps that the government is taking in place to ensure that we end the Galamsey menace. I will agree with others that, well, we are supposed to be moving as fast as we are supposed to do. But 4 months into the governance of this country, the steps taken are very crucial. And I believe that if you continue the momentum, in no distance from now, we'll be able to keep the situation of Galamsey menace. I will re-entreat that anybody who engages himself or herself in Galamsey and you are arrested, they should continue to confiscate everything. Just take everything of that person, including their resources, their properties, and everything, and imprison them. Don't end it there, just imprison them. If we continue to do this, we are going to end it amicably, because if you are found guilty and you are caught, know that everything that you have, everything will be taken away from you. Then you go to jail straight up. We should be able to come out with a law on that in that regard, and we're able to solve the problem. Now, on the issue of the lynching of people, if you look at it critically from Islamic point of view, if a thief is caught, you go through the Sharia principle, and they want to find out the reason why you have gone to steal. Is it that you are hungry or you are just a greedy person? If you are found guilty of anything that is not appropriate, then that is where they now put you into the right Islamic procedure, and sometimes a hand of the person is being chopped off. So I think that people should not take the laws into their own hands. If you arrest somebody who has stolen something, let the police take the course, let the police do the investigation, and ensure that at the end of the day, justice is given to the person whose property is missing. If you look at the prince says that men should not forget the loss of their fathers than that of their patrimony. What that means is that when your property is lost, it pains you more than even when your parents die, because you know that after death, your parents will definitely die. But for your property, it will continue to remind you that your valuable property is being stolen. So I will understand the way and manner in which people have to act in an injustice manner when someone steals something. But as humans, let's restrain, because anybody can be found in that situation. Sometimes it may not be true, but people will kill you unjustifiably, just like they did to President Mahama. So I believe that people must take restraint in some of these things. Now, on the issue of someone's penis being chopped off in a room, I think that people have to be faithful. Women and men must be faithful to their partners. If you are not faithful to them, that's what leads to some of these things. And usually, as a man, why should you also go and sleep in a woman's room? That is culturally not acceptable. It's also not really good. So I believe that even if you go there and it is very late in the night, Master, go home. Don't keep your life in a very dangerous position. Otherwise, things will not go on well with you. Now, if you look at the case of the Chief Justice, let the process take its own course. Vincent has taken the case to court. And as a lawyer, I think that he should have read the Constitution carefully and know that the process that he's passing through is not constitutionally right. I am not a lawyer, but I believe that the right thing must be done. So the Chief Justice should be allowed to go through the process. He asked for the prima facie cases that were filed against her, and she has read it, and this particular judgment has been given. It is not President Mahama who has suspended her. It is the Council of State that have taken a decision on her. The President only communicated that to her. So if you make it to look like President Mahama has taken an exclusive right to suspend her, and that President Mahama has violated the law, and that it is not good for the image of the country, what is good for the goose must also be good for what?
Right.
Whatever it is. Happened to Charlotte Osai. Charlotte Osai was sacked under a bizarre circumstance. So I don't think that, yes, it should be tit for tat. But I maintain that we have to follow the due process and we have to follow the right thing as humans.
All right.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Let me just, before we get talking about the Pope briefly and go on, you remember when you read that, headline from one of the papers, Ghana's Day of Shame?
Day of Shame, yeah.
There are some responses. So, Bra Atok Kwamena Forson says, "You shameless hosts." I usually like these types. You shameless hosts. You are waiting for her to be sacked before you call it a day of shame. Militia media. And he says the thought of removing the CJ is even shameless, and the media is waiting for her to be removed before. You are the ones destroying the country without speaking truth to leaders in power. I'll just throw a few questions to Bra Atok Kwamena. Has there been any breach of the processes involved in Article 146? Let's start from there. Are we the ones, as media people, who determined the prima facie case? I don't know whether you were I don't know whether you're a member of the Council of State, whether you are part of the process. I don't know. And are we not discussing the matter now? In fact, it is one of the major issues we are discussing on the show this morning, listening to different sides, starting from yesterday. And I'm curious, did you feel or express these same sentiments when, for example, Daniel Yaw-Domelevo, because in that case, the Supreme Court ruled after 3-4 years that it was indeed illegal post the fact. So I can use that one as an example. It was illegal, yet it was done. Did you feel the same passion around that time? Sometimes, we can be so myopic. I'm sorry. But anyway,
I just struggle to find the element of shame here, because it's not like someone has breached some constitutional provision that you're saying that you're calling him out for. But I want to leave it there. Let me get to the Custodian newspaper.
Can I indulge me one last time? Yaw Forson, please help us out. We're going to just take a little bit on the Pope, since we've been talking about it. We know that his remains are being transferred to the St. Peter's Basilica. That will be actually for public veneration. So there's a process involved, and usually mourning officially for the Pope takes about 9 days. And then he is taken to the St. Peter's Basilica for public veneration, which is what you are seeing now, his body being transferred, or his mortal remains being conveyed there. And eventually the Pope is traditionally buried in the crypt beneath St. Peter's Basilica. But in this instance, we hear that there may be another resting place for the pontiff. So that's just a quick update for you.
It's the simplicity yet sophistication of the casket for me. Very simple, open, but it speaks volumes. Yeah. So there you have it. While we're observing that, I can also just go through the headlines quickly, and then I'll land on two major stories from the Custodian newspaper. Political intrusion threatens Ghana's private sector. Demolition man Mahama pulls down CJ. That's not correct. The CJ has not been pulled down. The procedure is still ongoing, and as and when we arrive at a conclusion, we will let you know. So, two main stories. First, Bawumia NPP starts 2028 journey with Thank You Tour. The presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party for the 2024 general election, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, together with the party's leadership, is set to embark on a nationwide Thank You Tour starting Saturday, the 26th of April 2025. And so we wait to see the fallouts from that tour. And then I want to talk about the Ministry of Tourism launching National Heritage Photo Competition 2025. And this is for the benefit of our audience. If you're interested, you should take note. The Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture has announced the launch of the National Heritage Competition 2025. And according to the Minister, Madam Jifa Gomashi, she said entries can include photographs of heritage sites and cultural products, such as traditional dresses and food, and added that participants must not be older than 25. It means, Ben, you and I are disqualified. We cannot enter that competition. But if you qualify, please do well. It's a way of promoting our culture and heritage. It is called the National Heritage Photo Competition 2025. And then I want to land here. Don't show my movies. Bimbo Ademoye warns Ghanaian TV stations over copyright violations. You know, Bimbo.
I found that interesting.
Yeah, because this is how they get paid. When you create an artwork, content like that, the only way you get paid is through the views. So when you carry it and put it on free TV for other people to watch, you are shortchanging the producer or the executive producers of the show. And she's saying, and this isn't the first time this is actually popping up. She's saying, don't show her content on Ghana TV. If you want to watch her show, her TV, her films, go to YouTube and watch it so she can get money from there. And lastly, before I hand over to you, gentlemen, there was a story I wanted to, you anti-mining policies, I think you want to say your anti-mining policies are scaring investors, Minority tells government. And the Minority New Patriotic Party in Parliament has strongly criticized the Mahama-led government over a series of decisions in the mining sector in the last 3 months, warning that these actions are damaging Ghana's image as a stable and attractive investment destination. They talk about the controversial Gold Board Act, Anti-Goldfield Ghana Limited, security concerns, erosion of investor confidence. And I'm just wondering, is it anti-mining policies or anti-Galamsey policies that you're talking about? But Dr. Kwame Asante, these stories for your reflection.
I'll start with the thank you talk by Dr. Baumia. Yes, the party can take whatever decision that they deem fit, but I see it as unnecessary because there are more important things they can do now. Important thing, begin to look at the reports and address the concern. One of the things that even without the report, they must start be doing is to deal with the intractable conflicts that are within the party, the intra-party field, right? Those, because the conflict resolution mechanism that failed them, they were not able to deal with them, and we've seen recurrence of some of them and a whole lot of problems.
But perhaps this is a way to unite or reignite their passion for themselves and, come together and celebrate so they can fix the gaps.
How do you unite people who are at each other's throat? What kind of unity program is that? Nobody will listen to you. Settle them before you go to them that, look, let's come together and work. Because once you do that, you are able to galvanize a lot of support. The party becomes so attractive. But you shove all those problems under the carpet. I'm afraid you are not going to unite anybody. Because if I am at loggerheads with somebody and you don't find means of uniting us and you want us to shake hands and say, oh, you are coming there for, thank you talk, I will not welcome you. I'm not interested in any thank you thing. But this is my view. The party has superior view, so they can go with that. The issue about the Nigerian artist saying that his movies should not be shown and all that, it borders on the issue of intellectual property and how people abuse that. In this country, we take things for granted. People sit down, craft a whole lot of things for their use and the use of the public. But hey, they work to have reward for some of these things. People want to take them free of charge. And for me, that is a worrying thing, because sometimes when you look at the way people sit down day and night, bend the candle and develop ideas, and people take them for granted, it's unfortunate. So I support a call like this, so as to also encourage others to also think outside the box and create things and then derive the maximum benefit from it. Issue of anti-mining policy, the so-called anti-mining policy of government, I don't see it. Which government will want to come out with policies that will undermine mining in this country? Then the government has failed ab initio. I'm not sure that's what the NDC is doing. The issue of Gold Board, I'm surprised that people have all manner of views about that, but I am for the Gold Board all the time. Because if you look at the things that they have detailed and that the Gold Board stands to do for us, I have no doubt to support it. If there are problems associated, let's discuss it. But to rubbish it and all that, I disagree. This is a board that whoever is having gold, come and sell there. You have no place to sell because, look, people are destroying the forest, getting all these things. So it's a way of checking. And then look at even smuggling and all that. Have we tackled that? We want to tackle all these things. All this effort aim at what? Sanitizing the process and making sure that Ghana gets the best out of what the natural resources are given to her by God. So I don't see any anti-mining activities and all that. What about those who are saying that? What did they do when we saw people raping the sector? That one, was it also to encourage investors in that area. But you see, I understand these things. Ghanaian politics, there's something very characteristic of Ghanaian politics. Hypocrisy at all times. You see them, speaking at different on different issues. But meanwhile, the substance beneath it, they throw them away and all that. When it comes to their turn, they have a different formula that they want you to use and all that. We've seen hypocrisy in Ghanaian politics. It's not going to die down today or tomorrow. But I believe that any government worth its salt should be bold, should be courageous, and pursue policies that will bring hope and glory to its people. Any other thing, forget it. We don't want it.
Thank you. Dr. Mohammed, over to you.
Now, the gold board, if you look at it, it's not investor
anti-mining. That's what they're calling it. Yeah.
So I just believe that it is politics as usual. But you see, clearly, if you look at the mining sector, government participation in the mining sector is very, very minimal. The last time I checked, we have less than 3%. And it means that over 97% is taken away. And which means that it is time for government to do corrective measures. If you look, we were called Gold Coast. It means that we have significant gold deposits. Why didn't you take advantage of it and transform this country? It is because we have very poor and porous fiscal regimes in the mining sector. And that is even reflecting in our oil sector, because we have not been able to come up with good policies to govern the sector. We have lost significant amount of revenue in the sector in the past. Look, go to Norway. When Norway discovered oil in 1969, they put in pragmatic measures. Either you leave the resources on the ground or you get the full benefit of the resource. What is our royalties coming out of the gold? What percentage of royalties do you have? What percentage of service rentals do you have? What percentage of participating interest do you have? So the gold board is a novel idea that is going to revolutionize the mining sector and ensure that the government gets the full benefit that comes with the natural resource. So if we are not able to put in these pragmatic measures and we keep shouting that we are warning over investors' confidence, what have you, look, we either leave the natural resource on the ground or we get the maximum benefit out of it. If you continue to exploit it and we don't get the full benefit, future people will never leave us. They will never leave us. They will curse us for the bad things that we have done to this country. So I strongly believe that let's have pragmatic measures in the area. Let's have laws that are going to be governing the area and make things better for the full benefit of this country. Going over the things in the sector, I stand to believe that, look, we are losing a lot. We are losing a lot in our natural resources area. Our natural capital has not been fully financed. It has not been fully utilized properly. And it is time for us to get up and fight for our own cause.
Right. Thank you so much. Ben, over to you. That's that for my papers.
I saw a story I just wanted to highlight. So Sharubutu, Muslims mourn Pope Francis. I'm talking about the National Chief Imam. I always get so happy with, the interreligious tolerance in the country and how what affects one is felt by the other. And I felt I should just highlight that. The News Center this morning, government spotlights local investors in sweeping reforms. Afinyo Markin returns home with a promise of development for Chame. City FM, Channel 1 TV donate to rehabilitation centers as part of Easter Orphan Project. Congratulations to them. Free education and meals, one woman's gift to special needs kids. And Mahama NDC seek revenge, a retaliation for the removal of Charlotte Osei and others. Interesting headlines. On the back page, MTN stands in Worship 2025 ignites spirit of praise. I think that's something I know you'd probably be interested in attending.
No,
Fidelity Bank, pardon me.
It's over.
Oh, it's done, huh?
Weekend, yeah.
When was it, actually?
I think Saturday or Sunday.
Oh,
MTN
wow.
stands in Worship. And
I see very familiar faces there.
Yeah, Lois Solademi was there too.
Were you there?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, but
I went
because
to,
it's
you
like
see the flyer you're holding? I was there instead. The Saints in the Devil's Eye. I went to see the Covenanter play.
You did? Which one did you attend?
The last show.
Oh, because I attended the 3 p.m.
You
one.
did?
Yes.
We missed each other.
It was good.
It was good.
It was good.
It was good.
And after that, I went and saw something else at the Snap Cinema. Fidelity Bank commissions modern e-library for Tesano cluster of schools under Orange Impact Initiative. But let's quickly look at these stories. I'll be very quick with them. Let me start from page 3 with Afenyo Markin. So the minority leader in Parliament and Member of Parliament for Efutu, Alexander Kwame Afenyo Markin, has pledged to bring transformative development to Chame, his paternal ancestral hometown in the Volta region. His homecoming, marked by fanfare and heartfelt engagements, underscored a deep commitment to uplifting communities beyond his electoral boundaries. I felt that was a beautiful one there. And then pages 6 and 7, which is where I'm going to end. When Madam Emma Salah left the hustle and heartbreak of Accra for the quiet shores of Keta in the Volta region, her heart was heavy with grief. The death of her mother had left her shattered, and she hoped that the change of environment would offer some form of healing. But she found on her journey, what she found wasn't peace, it was purpose. It talks about how she's moved from healing to helping all these children. And when I see people doing these kinds of things, I cannot but salute them. I am so fond of children, so there we go. Finally, the Accra Times, JM's choice secures total approval as DCE for Wilsa South, and Kusau Overlord restores peace in Boku. And finally, Amakofi Boa talks hard. We will uproot Galamsey, describing activities of Akunta mining as criminal.
All right, let's get some final thoughts from our guests, and then we will wrap it up. Let me start with you, Dr. Mohammed. In our 30 seconds, give us a wrap of your thoughts.
Yeah, so I think that the thank you talk of Dr. Bawumia, what Ato is he going to be telling the people of Ghana or his party members?
Thank you. They just want to say
simple message is thank you.
Well, thank you should come with a convincing message.
Okay.
So I think that they have to reflect on it and know what they want to say to the people.
All
Otherwise,
right.
You will even further anger them.
Thank you. Dr. Kwame Asante, you have the last word.
I think I support Afenyo Markin and his drive to get back home and help in the development of his place. This is the duty of every Ghanaian. When you get to a certain level that you can assist, please don't waste time. Assist. Time is not on our side. Let's build our state now and forget about other states. And then this is the only one we have. Once we develop it, we own it, we are proud of it, we are standing to defend it anytime the state comes under attack. We are here as Ghanaians. Let us think about it at all times.
Thank you all so much. Dr. Jibril Mohammed is a senior lecturer at University of Ghana Business School, and Dr. Kwame Asante is a political scientist and head of European studies at the University of Ghana. Thank you.